Members of the Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee presented to the General Assembly, the Chamber of Deputies, a series of issues raised by the Auditor General, especially on the government's industrial program known as RwandaTV, under the government's plan to promote industrial growth. 6 industries were set up in 6 districts to increase the value of agriculture and livestock products, but have not yielded the expected results. The issues raised in this program are based on poorly designed feasibility studies that have led to some of the industries to be set up in the areas where the land does not favor needed crops for processing, among other issues as explained by Park Chairperson Honorable Muhakwa Valence.
Iyo haza gukorwa inyigo byari kugaragaraga ko umukamo.
In fact, if a study had been properly conducted, it would have been clear that milk production in Burera was not enough, and that factory would not have been taken to Burera. So that factory would not have been taken into account in the development of Burera district. Another example is Rwamagana banana wine. There were problems of banana farming, yet the same machines would have been important in Rutsiro, where they process honey. In Nyabihu, they needed machines to process potatoes, but were not bought. MPs pointed out that the Central Product Classification (CPC) programs is marred with issues that have also led to the privatization of these industries, but it also puts the government at a disadvantage because the factories such as Nyanza Ceramics, Auditor General found that it had not yet started operating, yet the government invested more than 339 million Rwandan francs, while selling it to the private sector for 88 million, would mean that the government would be losing 73% of its investment. Based on this, the MPs find that something needs to be done. Why can't they be made workshops and the people will learn from them instead of selling them to the private sector? Because it would lead the government into losses. The Commission has informed us that even the previous recommendations have not been properly implemented. If that has happened and the issue continues, I feel we should remind concerned institutions the importance of having these resolutions being implemented properly. Deputies said the problems in industrialization program have been going on for 8 years and that had been raised in the Parliament several times in various commissions, and some of those in charge of monitoring have been summoned, but their comments did not satisfy legislators. They have therefore taken another step to summon the Minister of Trade and Industry. We've therefore resolved to summon the Minister of Trade and Industry to explain these issues orally, as they have been raised in various reports, especially in the report we have submitted to the General Assembly today. The 6 industries set up under the RwandaTV program are Rwamagana Banana Wine CPC, Nyabihu Irish Potato CPC, Gatsiworeza CPC, Rutsiro Honey CPC, Nyanza Ceramics and Burera dairy factories. Although they are still up for privatization, the government has decided that they will be reinforced by NILDA. After the decision to privatize CPC Rutsiro and Nyabihu potato processing factories and even Rwamagana wine processing factory, the government gave us the task of helping them to continue to operate while waiting for buyers. In addition to this report, PAC also submitted to the General Assembly a report on the analysis of the report of the Auditor General in the depth audit of the Rwanda Transport Development Agency (RTDA), as well as the Integrated Personal and Payroll Information System. The resolutions on the report approved by the General Assembly are being finalized and will be submitted to the central government. Reporting for RTV News, Ethan Tashobia.
Thank you, Tashobia, for that report. Now, to get more in-depth information about the audit this evening, we're joined by Auditor General Honorable Obadiah Biraro. Sir, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Sir, compared to the usual Auditor General's report presented to the Parliament, what was the general picture of the audit carried out in these institutions in regards to different, of course, institutions and sectors regarding how they use public funds? What was the general picture of this audit?
Yeah, the general picture is really positive. There's improvement. In some sectors, improvement. In some other sectors, kind of decline and no improvement. But the general, really general, as the word general, there is improvement.
All right.
Improvement like, say, awareness. Improvement like compliance with the laws and regulations governing public finance management. The sensitivity is getting up.
All right.
Yeah.
And of course, the assessment by the parliament indicated that some industries failed completely under the community processing centers program, commonly known as the CPCs, or Uganda Iwacu in Rwanda. Of course, will this loss enable this program to continue, and of course in line with the 7-year government program?
Yeah, you see, the key word here is to continue. The lives of people continues. Continues the necessity to improve the lives of people of Rwanda continues. Therefore, this loss notwithstanding, I don't think anyone can say, and that's the essence of this audit we do.
All right. That
may the past not be a basis for a bad future. Therefore, continuation is necessary because the needs of the people increase and they are constant. So, loss notwithstanding, and given the lessons we have put in the forward and the recommendations that we have put forward, I think there is all the reason to continue. Yes, minimizing the losses, if not eliminate them. Earlier on, I said this NIRDA should be a professional body.
All right.
And therefore, have the prerequisite foresightedness to prevent these losses. And in industry and manufacturing, there is what they call normal loss. Any loss that should happen should be near normal loss.
All right.
Yeah.
And so with these losses that were identified in these industries, of course, under the program, what were what you found in this audit? What were the major causes for these industries to incur losses?
Yeah, the major causes are mainly in planning. There was no planning. There was no appropriate planning. Quite a professional approach to these things. Some of them are a bit complicated, but the approach was not appropriate, commensurate with the task at hand. And that's why we are saying please NIRDA get in and act more professionally than it has been hitherto. Yeah.
And of course, some institutions have been appearing in the Auditor General's report in regards to misusing the public funds. Do you plan special audits in such institutions that have been appearing constantly in the Auditor General's reports in regards to misusing public funds?
Yes, we do. And as these losses keep on manifesting, and government budget, you see, the Treasury does not have that elastic funds availability where you say, okay, Ross, today we shall get more money. No. The resources, the public resources are quite limited. And when these losses and malfunctioning and mismanagement keep appearing like the way we have seen, it gives us all the reason to go deeper and deeper. Government does not have money to lose and just throw by the roadside. Then tomorrow you begin again. So there's a need for that judicious way to spend government money. And anyone involved sincerely should be mindful of the principles of economy, efficiency, and effectiveness.
Absolutely.
Effectiveness, particularly in this public sector management, means that the road that is envisaged to be to last for, say, 10 years. Some should last even 20 years.
Absolutely.
Without repair. So should be the case. These buildings, government buildings, that should last, say, 40 years. In taxation, for example, you find they give you a capital allowance. Some of these things maybe are complicated for you guys. But in a taxation law, capital allowance, they give you, they expect that building to have life like 40 years. And they be giving you an allowance of 2.5%, 100 divided by 40. Now, But some of these buildings you find in 10 years it is dilapidated. So would it be the case if it was a private sector asset? So there is a need to balance up the private sector kind of style of management and the public sector. After all, it is the very people, the Rwandan people that are involved, you professionals in your various spheres of life.
Absolutely.
You just have to be professional and apply the professional resourcefulness that is required. And you will see that these government losses will be minimized.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Okay, thanks.